Hi everyone, welcome back to Let's Do Bonsai. It's been an interesting day today. It's absolutely pouring it down with rain now, but earlier on this afternoon I was lucky enough to spend the afternoon with our chairman of the Bonsai Society, the South Yorkshire Bonsai Society, Mr. Graham Morris. We had a good afternoon with each other, some brews and bonsai chat, and I'll show you some of the video that we took right now, and I hope you enjoy it just as much as I did. So hi everyone, here we are with Graham Morris, the chairman of the South Yorkshire Bonsai Society. I always want to say association, but it's society. Thanks for having me round. If I could start the conversation by, what was your route into bonsai? How did you get into bonsai originally?
Well, I've always had a bit of an interest in Japanese culture, and I suppose it's about 1987 when I sort of began to take an interest in bonsai as such, but there wasn't a lot of information around that I was aware of. There's a few books around, Peter Chan, Adams, Harry Thomas, which I bought, and Dan Barton, but not much material that I was aware of or knew how to get to begin bonsai. I went pottering around a few garden centres and got these little Hinoki Cypress things, you know, trying a hand at that. Sort of wandered around the wilderness for 4 or 5 years, and I managed to grow something that resembled a bonsai, and I used to take them to work and put them on the desk, and then one of my fellow workers obviously knew I'd got an interest, and he said, well, I've got a friend who's just started a society, would you like to join? So I said, yeah, I would like to. This was like in early '93. So I went along to the meetings, which we used to have them at Chapeltown on Warren Lane. Les Worthington was our president at that time, who started the society, so to speak.
Founder member.
There were 6 others with him. So I joined in early '93. I think the society was formed in late '92 actually. So I started attending meetings, and then a few years later, the chairman, who was the chairman at that time, left. And Les asked me if I would become chairman. So much for democracy.
Yeah, you're going to be chairman.
You're going to be chairman. So I said, yeah, okay, then I'll give it a bash. So I became chairman, which was interesting. We started the Don Valley Road shows as a society in conjunction with Ashfield Bonsai Society, and that ran for a few years quite successfully.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
even though they said it couldn't be done.
Even though they said you'd never make anything out of it. But we did. To the point where the Bonsai Traders Association had cut to the action.
Can we jump on board? Can we come and sell at your roadshows, please?
Yeah, so Les and I had a meeting with Alan Harriman at that time, who was one of the organisers of the Bonsai Traders Association. And we agreed that we'd run it jointly, which we did for a few years. I used to organise higher beer, Don Valley, tables, chairs, etc., catering, and these traders used to organise the trading tables and so forth. So we did that for a few years. Then I decided I'd take a back seat and basically handed the thing over to the Bonsai Traders Association. It became the Northern BTA.
Okay.
Anyway, I continued as chairman for a number of years, up to about 5 years or so ago. Managed to get a member to take on the role after 17 years.
Is anybody interested in being chairman, please?
Yeah. Anybody want to be chairman? Dead silence, you know. So anyway, the guy took it on for about 2 or 3 years, and then he decided he'd depart, so he went his own way. And again at the AGM, who wants to be chairman? Deathly silence. Well, I've been in the society for so many years, I thought if nobody takes it, it's going to fold.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I'll do it as long as I get some help from people, you know, to keep it going, which I have, and they have. I've got some committee members behind me.
Yeah, rather than doing everything yourself,
Yeah.
trying to run the whole show,
Yeah.
give us some support, everybody take a bit of responsibility and we can make it.
Yeah. So, as I say, that was 3 or 4 years ago, and obviously we continue up to this day. And obviously you're a recent member.
New member, 2 months,
Yeah.
fledgling.
Yeah. So that's how I got into bonsai. Well, I've been at it for, I suppose, the best part of 30 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I'm still learning a lot.
I think everybody says that there's always something to be learned, aren't there? There's always something new coming.
I mean, since the advent of the internet and YouTube videos, I mean, I've picked up a tremendous amount of information.
Yeah.
You can only get so much out of books. There's nothing like watching people work.
I've also watched a lot of YouTube, and obviously I have the channel that I run, and people say there's a lot of great information out there, but there's also a lot of misleading and dangerous information as well.
It irks me that, because there's a danger you're going to turn as many people off bonsai as you're going to engage into bonsai simply by giving them tough information, and then they fail. Yeah. And they become disillusioned.
Yeah, I mean, I've done things on mine, and I've had people say, you've killed that tree, you shouldn't have done that, you know, it's going to be adverse, and on the whole, the trees have survived and they've carried on, but obviously the fear is mine is experimental, this is my journey, this is what I'm doing. Feel free to watch, but wait to see if it works first. You know, don't take this as gospel, because this is my journey and I'm sharing it. But yeah, people out there, you know, how would you feel if somebody followed what you'd done and you've killed their 20, 25, 30-year-old tree by following what you've just said? So yeah, you know, I'm trying to be aware myself now that information that I give, you know, I don't want it to be duff or bad information to people, but there's always obviously the chance that...
I think the thing that I gradually learned over the years is the importance of looking after the health of the tree and the horticultural side of it. I mean, when I first started, all I was concerned about was trying to make a tree look like a bonsai, you know. I wasn't concerned about what was going off below, you know. But now I do appreciate the horticultural aspects of it, and there's a lot of interesting stuff coming out. As I think I once mentioned, could become more in favour of organic materials in terms of fertilisers and such like. And there's some interesting products coming out like probiotics, which involve the use of bacteria as opposed to chemicals to fight disease and build up resistance in the plant. So that's really interesting. That's, to me, relatively new, and it's showing very much a lot of promise. You know?
Yeah. I've been recently sent some pouches of beneficial bacteria and things to put in with the roots, and little tea bag type things to sit the roots on, and then that helps stimulate the roots and the roots to grow. But hopefully that works. It seems to, from other people that I've watched.
Yeah, no, it's been very good actually. And it's interesting how the styles have changed. I mean, when I look back at the early books I got, like from like Peter and Harry Tomlinson and so forth, without being disparaging to them, things have moved on and they've improved actually. You know, I mean, I don't think Corin mind me saying so, that Corin now, the stuff that Corin Tomlinson's knocking out is really good stuff, and it's a step change. It's moved on from when his dad was doing it in terms of style and refinement. And that's life. I mean,
it's development and progress, isn't it? You know, we know now so much more than what we maybe didn't know back then. And then somebody comes up with a radical idea or a radical experiment of doing something that nobody had actually thought of doing it before, and then more and more people add it to their repertoires and it goes forward.
I mean, even when I look back even on our trees as a society, when I look at the displays that we used to put on at certain events and so forth, and then you look at what we're now producing, and you can see how things have developed and changed and improved. And I I think we made great strides as a society in terms of the quality of the trees that our members are now knocking out, to be honest with you. And hopefully we get other new, well, obviously people like yourself are new to us, but I've had a few inquiries of late from people who want to come along and have a look at the society.
Yeah, well, I've mentioned recently, obviously, that I've joined, and a couple of the comments have been, I've always meant to come along to a meeting and whatnot, and I've said, you're a lovely bunch of people, warm and welcoming. I walked in, what am I going to be hit with? And I couldn't have asked for better, really. Everybody there was just so nice.
We try not to be elitist in the slightest sense, and we've all been there at one time. We've all been sort of beginners, a bit apprehensive. I'll never make a tree like that.
Yeah.
But we always try to encourage people and say, look, you'll get there.
In 5 years' time it'll be that, and in 10 years' time it'll be that, and then
so,
only time will tell.
Yeah, so I think we've got a nice happy bunch at the moment, and hope it continues actually.
We'll start on that upward trend of members again. Because you had about 70, didn't you?
I mean,
around about the millennium sort of time.
Yeah, when I first started, probably about, I don't know, maybe 20 or so. It used to high spot. I mean, we'd about literally 70 on the books. I mean, we used to have about 40 regular attenders, I once remember taking a 40-seater bus down to Peter Champs.
Yeah,
that's the way it was. But things ebb and flow. I think we're now, not down to, but we've stabilised at about 20 or so members, and that's been like that for quite a few years. I'd like to get younger people involved if I can.
Yeah.
We had one young member who, until COVID struck, used to come, 12-year-old girl, was very enthusiastic. I think we've yet to see a return. I think COVID's got a part to play in that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd like to see younger members coming.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously COVID over the last couple of years has stopped it, and I know that when I was Googling and looking and found the society, I was like, I've got to go. And you were up at Worlow then.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's not too bad, I can get there. And then COVID struck, I'm like, well, I'd put it off that long, I then couldn't go. And then we had a couple of moves in between, didn't you? And then landed where we are now, which is a nice place, isn't it, that you've secured. So.
Yeah, it was a bit of a... We thought we found a decent spot when we moved to Hillsborough, and it was a good spot. It was reasonably central for most people. Unfortunately, COVID hit, and then they, through various financial reasons, couldn't support us as a society or other community groups, because they used to subsidise, basically. Right. But unfortunately, they found they couldn't continue with that, so we had to find another place, and that's where we are today. But I think the place is pretty good. It's spacious, got all the amenities.
Yes, you've got all the facilities and amenities, definitely. So, what's your favourite type of tree, shall we say? What would you lean towards if you was to pick one in particular? Or do you not have a particular?
I don't know, they've all got their own little pros really. I mean, I love the Japanese red maples in spring and autumn. I don't think you could top that for colour. I do like junipers as well. I love the vibrant green and the deadwood that's associated with junipers. I quite like that as well. I don't have a particular favourite. I mean, I've got quite a diverse collection.
Yeah, so we'll be having a look at that shortly. You did the demo on it was a juniper the other night, weren't it?
Yeah.
And within 2 hours that went from a sprawling bush into quite a good looking prospect, shall we say.
We unfortunately ran out of time. I did go back to Kay's place this Monday actually to finish it off with, or give it a hand finishing it off.
Do a bit more styling.
So we managed to finish the tree in terms of its initial structure, I should say. And then a couple more while I was there. So hopefully, hope it survives the war. My name's going on.
Well, it's not being repotted, is it? So
No.
so it should survive. It's just, I mean, there were some big branches came off that one.
Oh gosh, yeah. But we got there. I mean, I get a buzz out of doing that, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I was sort of sitting in the background for a bit of it, and I was watching, and I'm like, some really big but great decisions made to improve what it looked like, and I was like, could I have seen that? Could I have come up with that? And I was just like, yeah, you can see the knowledge and experience coming through. So I was suitably impressed with what you were doing, and I was learning all the time while I was sat watching there. Definitely that was really good.
Yeah. I said I get a buzz out of doing that. I like helping people with their trees. My problem is I like working on trees. I like creating trees from the basics, so to speak. My problem is when I've done it, I don't want to part with it.
You've invested into it, because you've got a tree out there that you sort of put up for someone to style, didn't you? And it was a bit of a drastic.
Yeah, it was a Lebanese Cedar that I bought as raw material from John Hamby's in the mid-70s, and I did a workshop with Malcolm Hughes at the Don Valley that we'd organised, and we started it into informal upright. I'm quite happy with that. And then we had the guest speaker on our club night, so I took the tree and just give him something to work on or discuss,
Free rein.
And I volunteered, much to my chagrin, really. I mean, I committed myself. I said, you do what you think you need to do. And he took the top 12 inches off it. He said it'll make the trunk look more powerful, and my face just dropped. I was dismayed. I thought, what has he done to my tree?
Yeah, and knowing that, I can understand now when you was, this branch needs to come off, and you was like, do you want it? You didn't just sort of like go, this is what it needs, I'm going to do it.
No.
You really put the onus back on to the owner of the tree to say, are we doing it? Are you sure? Are you happy for it to go? And obviously she's like, yeah, go on, let's take it off, it's got to go. But
at the end of the day, I could walk away from that tree, she's got to live with it.
She's got to live with it, yeah. So I sort of get why you was quite mindful of the fact of let the decision be with the owner of the tree.
Yeah.
I think this is what's got to happen. And then obviously you've got people in the background saying, you've got to take that off, you've got to take that off.
So you're always free with information when it's not your tree.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it's a lot easier to come up with those. I mean, I'm terrible, from start of getting into bonsai. One of my biggest fears has been making those big cuts, because I've just not wanted to do it, but I'm slowly getting better with it.
We've all been there. I mean, that's I suppose as a beginner, that's probably the most daunting thing, really. It's removing stuff.
Yeah, and also being able to see that, I can see that the style of this tree, or what I want to style it as, that's only really something that will come with experience. You can't read a book and come up with that. No. You can't really watch so many videos and come up with that. That's a progression.
Apart from the fundamentals, like, get rid of crossing branches and all that.
Yeah.
I can't, in myself, say, this is how you do it. It's just instinctive now.
Yeah. Which, again, I saw the other night, and I know that I've got some trees that I know that I need to take branches off, but it's like, which one do I do? Do I take that one or that one or that one? And again, the experience and knowledge helps you make that decision. And sometimes you've just got to take that deep breath and go for it. And some say if in doubt, cut it out, don't they? So, but you can't stick them back on.
Exactly.
You can always take it off, but you can never stick it back on.
I always say there's no rush. As you say, you can't put it back on again. If you're not sure, just look at it and study it and leave it and wait and think.
Yeah. Walk past it a few times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I had the lost unit out there, and I was sat watching it for 5 years before I decided what to do with it.
But eventually it's there, isn't it? And you can then take the plunge and put it on the table and work on it.
Yeah. But yeah, we all get there in time. Yeah.
So, all these years, chairman of the society, you've got Corin coming up towards the end of this month, because we're in October now. What happened to September? Did we have a September?
Well,
I know there was a car boot sale in September, but that's about it.
yeah. Well, we got Corin on the 28th. We should have had him before lockdown. We bought 3 junipers for him to start from him. I've been keeping them, so to speak, for the last 15 months. And then managed to get him to come, as I say, at the end of this month to do the trees.
Yeah, demonstration and some styling and
Some
whatnot.
styling.
That'd be interesting. Definitely coming in for that one.
Yeah.
And then the trees are going to go up for raffle for members.
Yeah, we've decided to raffle the trees, but every member gets a free raffle. So we're going to raffle each tree off on consecutive months. We'll determine which tree on the night comes out of the hat to be given as the prize.
Yeah.
So hopefully 3 members will be.
Yeah. I take it once you've won one, you can't win another one. You end up with somebody walking away with all 3 trees over the 3 months.
Yeah, that'd be like a lead balloon.
You've had your tree, you're out.
That's it. Yeah. But yeah, we decided that it's the best way to. I mean, we're doing all right financially. We're reasonably healthy financially. We thought we need to give some of that back to the members. So
Yeah, I think a lot of the members would be quite happy just to keep the society alive anyway, wouldn't they? It's nice to give back.
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of people come. We have some members that they come for the social side of it as much as anything. I mean, some don't even bother bringing trees, just come for the chat.
Well, I say I'm yet to bring a tree. I know I got offloaded a load of jades the other week, but yeah, my jade collection is nicely thinned out now. I just slowly got rid of it. I maybe should have joined the table. I should have.
You should have kept them for the auction.
Yes. As I walked in, somebody said you need to be at the auction. And I kind of should have done, because then I could have been there early with everybody. And mind you, I was told strict instructions. I had the missus with me and hands in pockets, and I managed to walk away with 3 yew trees, because I haven't got a yew tree. So I managed to walk away with 3 for a tenner. So
that's good.
I've had to repot one because I picked it up and it fell straight out of the pot, so I'm like, this has got no roots, this thing, but I've tried the beneficial bacteria and sat it on one of them tea bags, and we'll see what we get out of it.
Let's see.
Hopefully it'll grow.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I suppose we better go outside and have a look at your collection.
Good. So yeah, I'll just take you down here. This is where the more refined trees are in the collection. I'll take you through each one in turn if you like.
Yeah.
This is a Hinoki Cypress. It's actually grafted onto Lebanese stock. You can see the fat trunk, or what appears to be a trunk below. I didn't realise at the time that it was grafted. It's come on a lot since I bought it. That's when I first bought it. You can see there's no bulbousness there. That's just appeared in.
It's swollen up like
just swollen up like
Wow.
that, because that's the Lebanese stock, obviously.
It's interesting bark effect, and
Yeah,
very nice.
it is actually. It's not unsightly. I mean, it's a bit out of proportion, if you like, to the main trunks, but it's not unsightly. Some people try to carve their way out of it, but I don't think it'd help. I don't think it'd help if I carved it.
No.
Right. This is a root of the rock. I'll just take this off. I'll put this on just to stop the birds pecking it off, to be truthful.
And pesky birds.
The bat birds, yeah. One of our members keeps telling me I need to remove this top bit.
All right.
And I've been resisting, but I think I might just air layer it off next year. He thinks it'll look much more powerful without it.
That's some really nice little leaves on there, isn't there? All nice and compact as well.
Yeah, it is. It's not had many berries this year, unfortunately. It does carry some nice berries. I'm just going to try and show you when I first started it. That's the image of when I first started it off, so you can see it's changed significantly.
Yeah, that is quite considerably different, isn't it?
It is just
get back.
Yeah, it's probably about 25 years old. This is a Paul Scarlet Hawthorn.
Right.
I grow it for its flower. It has double scarlet flowers in bunches on, and in springtime it's really nice and attractive with its with its flower.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
You've never seen it. Yeah, it's beautiful and it's so in flower. That's the reason I grow it. I'm going to try and develop the apex a bit more so it's a bit fuller. That's the next step with it. This is Juniper Mayeri. I got it from a friend some years ago. It was just an ordinary garden whip.
And like most things, I can do something with that.
Yeah.
Every tree you look at now,
Yeah.
I can do something with that.
This one, you might think, what the hell's that white stuff on it?
Okay.
That is a Tanuki
Right.
hawthorn, and this is wood hardener. I put it on every year, and when it gets rain on it, it goes white, and then it fades away to a more natural effect. But this is a Tanuki.
Right. Okay.
Let me just pick it up. I'll show you. You can see it at the back. Can you see the? Can you see?
Okay. So that's where it's passing through.
Yeah. This is just a sucker I'm developing just to fatten the trunk out.
Yeah, absolutely. It could
pushes
do with
one
a
out
little
every
bit,
year,
I
and I
suppose.
chop it off at the end of the year. It's an interesting little thing.
Yeah, it's different, that, isn't it?
Yeah. But I have to keep chucking wood hardener on it to preserve it. I'm fighting a losing battle. But I mean,
Yeah, eventually it will go.
It went a bit
'cause
soft inside, so I drilled and injected it with a syringe of wood hardener. It did actually firm it up. And this one here is my informal larch. I bought it as raw material from Jim McCurrick at our Don Valley Roadshows way back in 1997, I think.
Is this the one that you did the drawing for?
Yes, it did, yeah. It did lose a root, as you can well see, some years ago. I've tried to preserve, the bottom of it's rotted off because it was in contact with the soil. I thought if I take it away, it's just going to lose a little bit of something. So
yeah, it kind of fills in
just fills
that little space, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does, yeah. This is a Lonicera, or honeysuckle. This came off of somebody's garden dump.
All right.
It was variegated originally, but it's reverted. It does occasionally throw out the odd branch or variegated branch, but as I say, it has reverted. I quite like it. It's nice. I like the trunk formation, you know.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. They're a bit of a devil to keep tidy because they tend to grow very quickly in clumps, and if you're not careful, you get clumps of foliage and you end up with knuckles all over the place.
I'm with you.
So it's a bit of
An ongoing battle.
Ongoing battle, that one. This is a Potentilla. I think I got this from John Farris some years ago, and they, as I said to you, they do tend to rot very easily. You can see the dead wood, and all that's natural rot, to be truthful.
Right.
But it's formed a lovely twist in it.
It's nice, that. I do like that.
Yeah.
That's cool, that.
It's beautiful, actually. The foliage is just dulling over a little bit now, a bit coming out of summer. Still into flower. I keep deadheading it to keep the flowers going. So yeah, it's just lost a bit of its vibrancy on the foliage. But I think it's that deadwood just makes it.
Yeah, it's very, very nice. I do like that.
This is twin trunk maple. I don't know if you can see, it's got a twin trunk in there, if you can see it.
Yeah.
This looks at its best in winter, I'll be honest with you.
When it's all bare,
It's all
and you
bare.
can see the structure.
You can see the structure, yeah.
It's got some nice roots down the bottom there.
I've had it in a box for 2 years just prior to, I repotted it just this year. I put it in a box because when I bought it, it was in a very shallow oval Walsall pot. And it just seemed to sit there. It was surviving, it wasn't thriving so much, so I put it in the box for 2 years and then I put it in this earlier this year. This one just does not like defoliating.
No.
I know Bjorn made a comment that never defoliate maples, Japanese maples.
Yeah.
I've got a Dishojo that doesn't mind it.
Right.
This one doesn't.
This one
like
hates it.
It's just not throwing any new stuff out. Can you see?
Yeah.
It's just not.
It's just put the buds there and
Just
that's
put the
it.
bud and sat.
We'll wait till next year.
Wait for next year.
But at least you've got the buds there ready to go.
Yeah.
Cool.
This one is Deodara Cedar. I bought that as a garden centre plant. It was one of my early efforts in bonsai. It started life as a cascade, well that was the intention, but it kept falling off the plinth that I put it on, and eventually this cascade snapped off.
A forced restyling.
A force rest. That's why you got all. It snapped there. You can just see there. That's where it. This is was a side branch. I'll just show you when that's it when I first bought it and threw some wire. I was young and naive, and
as we all are.
when I did that. That's probably about, gosh, 25.
So
that's it.
That's the part that broke away, and then
the side branch was developed. That's the result.
It's a very nice tree. It's
to be
major
honest,
styling.
I prefer it like that to what it would have been.
Yeah, yeah.
So after disaster,
Nature's conquest.
Yeah. This is a cryptomeria. I bought it at a boot sale a couple of years ago down at Birmingham Botanicals.
Is this the one that you couldn't get in the car at the time?
Couldn't get it in the car, so I asked Corin Tomlinson to take it back to his place because we were doing a workshop there later. Then a friend of mine brought it back for me. Done a little bit more carving on that, but last spring I stripped the bark off because it was grey and flaky. I'll not do it this year, but can you see it? That's the colour of it there underneath. Can you see?
Oh,
it?
nice red.
It was like that all over.
Browny red. Nice colour.
Beautiful. It's not ready to do again, but eventually I'll do it again.
That'll look really nice.
Spectacular.
Striking when it'll be all
so
that
the
colour.
whole thing, including the pot, 60 quid.
60 quid. Oh my word!
The pot's worth more than that.
It is. Absolutely.
Actually
That's a please don't let me carry this home.
You ticketed it at 70, and I said, oh, I was interested, so I'll let you have it for 60.
Wow. Wow.
I couldn't believe it.
Wow, wow, wow.
Could not believe it.
That's if ever there was a bargain, we found it.
Yeah. This is another cryptomeria, totally different foliage. There's obviously a different genus. I mean, much
Shorter,
tighter. It's difficult to prune this because it's so tight. Every year I have to go in there and try and get this structure back. It's so tight, that foliage. Again, this was an ordinary garden centre plant. I took the top off.
Some strong pads, aren't they then?
Yeah, I took the top off just to make it more manageable, because the trouble is sometimes with evergreens, you never know how to terminate the apex.
Yeah.
You know?
Just lop it off.
So I just thought, I'll gin it.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
A little bit of gin going off down here as well. Yeah. That is a cutting off one of my first trees. It's a Jaclyn Hilliar Elm.
Yeah.
So that's been grown from a cutting.
Some nice little leaves on there.
Nice little stuff, yeah, tiny little leaves. A little bit
Very
fragile, and some, they're very fine branching on it, so you have to give it a little bit of protection.
Yeah.
It's just starting to drop.
So that was a cutting off of one of your early ones.
One of the earlier efforts, yeah. This, I think I bought it off one of our club members. It was the top was really heavy, really heavy. So I've reduced the top quite and adjusted the branch structure. They don't like repotting cedars.
No.
They hate it. I'm always filled with trepidation when I repot. I did it this year. Previously I did it and I'd lost a branch there. I took a heavy root off the bottom and it must have been connected to this branch, and that dropped. The branch dropped.
Right.
Fortunately, it wasn't too, shall I say, dramatic. It didn't change the style so much. I repotted it this year just as the buds were bursting, and as per usual, all last year's needles fell off.
Off they come.
Off they went. So this is all this year's growth. Quite tight actually.
Yeah, it's nice.
I've been experimenting with I've been trialling some probiotic stuff this year.
Okay.
Which is fairly new to the market. It's an Irish product. The guys in Northern and Southern Ireland have been trying it for over 2 years, and it's working very well. It's a bacteria-based product, and essentially I'm using that instead of fungicides and insecticides.
Right.
So it builds up the resistance of the tree, and
okay.
It seems to be working. So on my refined stuff, I'm fully organic.
Yeah.
Organic fertiliser and seaweed, and this bacterial fungicidal growth.
Yeah, some beneficial bacteria.
Beneficial bacteria, yeah. It seems to be doing all right. Just a little thing that was just an air layer off a Catonias. I did that a couple of weeks ago.
It's a nice little
tiny little thing.
I got the tiny little leaves on that.
Yeah, I got the pot from Kyoto, Japan, in Kyoto, when I was out in Japan in Kyoto. Nice little pot. This one I got from the Bonsai Centre. When would it be? Earlier this year, actually. Again,
it's a nice looking little tree.
The trunk structure is nice. It had already been obviously styled there, but it was a little bit of a bush, so I've taken off some branches, obviously, and styled it.
No.
This is a yew, obviously. I got this from a friend. It actually belonged to Alan Harriman originally.
Right.
He had two, and we were over there, and I fancied one because I hadn't got a yew at the time. But my mate jumped in and bought the both of them at the same time, much to my disgust.
You're like, come on, share and share, come on.
Anyway, about some years later, he said, "Oh, I'll sell you that tree if you want it." But I've lost a few. There's a couple of branches have gone, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'm going to grow these down to fill the gaps. So eventually, this lot will get filled in.
Yeah.
Again, it's a bit of a battle with deadwood, trying to keep it from rotting away.
Unfortunate, isn't it? It's so frustrating at times.
This is a plum cherry, which I air-laid off one of my shrubs in the garden. It's a member at Prunus family. It'll throw out before the leaves come out. It'll throw out white flowers all over it.
Oh, nice.
It looks really nice. The pot is an Alan Harriman's China mist pot, but I dropped it while I was repotting and it broke into pieces.
Oh.
So I thought, I was devastated because it really suited the tree. So I thought, well, I'll do a kitsugi on it. So I stuck it all back together.
And overemphasised it, obviously.
And you use this kitsugi. The Japanese do it as a sort of
like a pattern, as if it was meant to be.
What it is, you admire it for its imperfections.
Right, yeah. Like us. And we hope to be admired for our imperfections.
What they do is actually purposely break pottery and stick it together with gold.
Right.
With gold and resin. This is not real gold, but it's a gold effect powder mixed into resin. So I created the same effect. And fortunately I managed to keep the pot.
Yeah, I mean you wouldn't really know, would you? You'd think somebody had done it as a pattern or an effect.
But when there's just white flowers on it and that, it looks quite nice actually.
Really nice, yeah. I'll look forward to seeing a picture of that.
Yeah. I think I've got one somewhere. Right, this one is the bane of my life. Trying to stop it from going upright, as you can tell.
It was a £2 effort from
Oh,
B&Q.
this is the £2 special.
The £2 special from B&Q.
Well, I'll tell you what, for £2 special,
Yeah.
even if it's the bane of your life, that is worth every pence.
Yeah, I'll try and find it. There you go. That's when I first bought it. That was my effort to restyle on it.
Yeah.
But it just wanted to grow up like a pyramid.
Look at the
I mean,
that trunk was probably what, like the thickness of your finger at the time. And
yeah, exactly.
look at that.
I mean, the
now.
bar is lovely on it. That's what attracts me to it now. I mean, all right, the foliage is a bit of
Yeah, some nice rootage on that. And
it's really nice trunk and stuff.
when you get some people and it's all about the roots, and then
Yeah.
other people it's all about trunk and movement.
Yeah, but it's trying to. I keep pinching it back now, and cutting it back, hoping it'll try and push back a little bit.
Yeah, they're interesting pads, aren't they? Because they're really strong.
They are strong. Yeah.
I kind of like it. I must admit, I kind of
Some
like it.
people-
I like the
some
bane
people-
of your life.
Yeah, some people don't like it. I
Oh.
quite like it.
We're back to celebrating the imperfections, aren't we?
Yeah,
It's-
well, it's got them.
well, it gives us work.
This
It
is
gives
a
us work.
potent tiller, which, as I say, they rot like crazy. Now it's in two parts. There's the live vein and there's
Oh, yeah.
another live vein. I've just widened together and twisted it round just to give it a bit of substance. But yeah, there's pretty little flowers on it, you know. But potent tillers do rot. And this is needle juniper. I got that from a garden centre. I think that cost me about £6, I think.
Another bargain.
Yeah, well, it was just an ordinary garden centre plant, so put some bit of style into it. Took a few branches out, and there you go.
I do like the idea of getting some garden centre stuff and trying to create your own out of it.
I've got very few what I call bonsai trees, so to speak. I like to put my own stamp on
Yeah,
stuff, you know.
they're yours.
So most of them are all sort of, well, I'd say a good 80% of garden centre stock, you know. I mean, the maple obviously not, and neither is this Deshojo. This is a group that I did with Harry Tomlinson.
All right, yeah.
We came up to our society in, I think it was about 95, and brought some larch with him, and we all did a group with him, and this is it.
This is it. All these years later.
Years later.
So your relationship with the Tomlinsons goes back
It
a
goes
few
back
years.
a bit, yeah. I can remember Cory when he was a lad. Yeah.
Yeah, I was with Corinne a few weeks back. I was driving back up, and I called in just to see if I could have a nosy at some pots, and I bought some pots and that, and had a little chat with him and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I says, "Oh, I look forward to seeing you at the when you come to do the
Demo.
society demo."
Yeah.
He says he in particular, you know, he thinks you're a good bunch. He says. I did say I've only been at that time. I'd only been once, and
Yeah.
I've since been twice.
Yeah. I
And,
mean, in fairness, he does. I think he treats us quite well, actually.
yeah, he's
He
a nice
doesn't-
guy.
He doesn't rip us off at all.
He's a good, honest, nice guy, isn't he? Really.
Yeah.
Sitting with him was interesting because it was just like being sat with one of the lads. Really.
Yeah. This is Deshojo. I got this from Peter Chan's in '97. He just brought a lot in from Japan. I picked it for its trunk and its potential. A lot have got flying roots and stuff, you know,
Right.
and bad grafts. So this
Yeah.
is what I chose.
When they bring them in, there's potential for so many problems with those
Yeah,
nursery stock stuff. I
And
know they
this-
don't like you saying that, but
Yeah.
one of the first things I normally do is get them out of their pots and
Yeah.
put them into your own, and have a look at the roots to see what they. Because as they've come across, you've just got. They were looking after it, but they were looking after thousands.
yeah.
Not like us looking after 10, 20, 30, 40, or sometimes more,
Mm.
but they're looking after thousands, and they just
Yeah.
ain't got the time, have they? To
But yeah, '97 I got this. I mean, it's got its faults. As you see, when it drops its leaves, you can see there's at one point there's 3 branches where there shouldn't be.
Right.
A little bit of inverse, but I keep
hidden
them
at the moment.
hidden at the moment. But the leaf this year is looking really nice. I'm hoping I'm going to get some really good autumn colour out of it.
They're
There's
good and
hardly
small
any-
for the size.
Yeah, I completely defoliated that this year. First time I've ever done it. I won't be doing it again for another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
It's just too dangerous. Yeah, it needs to be a strong tree to do that. Yeah. Right, this is again another. I got this. We bought a load off Colin about, gosh, 15 years ago perhaps.
Yeah.
So each member had a tree to work on. I didn't touch it for about 6 years, and then 4 years ago we were doing art in the garden, so I did it as a demonstration.
Is that the one up at the gardens in Sheffield?
Botanical
in Sheffield.
Yeah.
I missed that one this year.
Yeah.
I wanted to come, but I was otherwise engaged.
Yeah, so I styled it. This is a bit of a demonstration about 4 years ago. And this one, same variety, Blaw's Juniper. I did that at John Hamby's. That was about, gosh, 95?
95.
It was, obviously it's a bit small, a bit more compact. It was more a literati style at that time. I had it in a very small pot, but it started to, I'll not say suffer, but it wasn't thriving, so I put it in the garden for a few years. Then last year I brought it out of the garden, put it into this pot. The pot's a bit big, so it's going to go into a
Bit of a smaller one.
I've got 2 pots that David Jones commissioned. I commissioned David to do the red and black oxide pots.
And that's the Walsall ceramics.
Walsall ceramics, yeah. So both of these are going into identical pots actually. This is a Chinese juniper that doesn't throw. It's always shown juvenile foliage, and it's one of my very, very early trees that I bought, and it's rotted away. It's lost a lot. There's a lot of deadwood on it. So
yeah,
18 months ago I thought I'll make a root over rock out of it. So I planted it onto the rock. I carved the rock. I bought this from an aquarium shop in Wentworth Garden Centre. So I ground out a base for it and a drainage hole for it.
Okay.
Did a bit of carving on here just to try and put a little bit of character in, but it's not easy with an angle grinder. And then plonk it on that. So that's work in progress really.
Yeah.
This, I put this on to keep the rain off.
It's doing its job.
They don't like to be wet, so if it's going to be heavy weather, I'll put this over it just to keep it dry. White pines just don't like being wet. I got this from our founding society member Les Worthington many years ago.
Right.
I think I gave him 60 quid for it. I think it came from Lodders. Obviously black pine onto white pine.
Yeah, there's some big bark on there.
Yeah, it's been like, but it's lost a lot of it because it's grown, it's split, it's expanded, and a lot of this
unfortunately fell off.
Yeah, I think what happens is they put iron wire in there to do that.
Right, yeah, to make it look
craggy.
Yeah, somebody was saying the other day about leaving the wire in to make it look
I think
craggier
there's still
on the
there,
bark.
because if you look around it, you can see it's almost undercut. I don't know if you can see or not. I can just show you. Can you see under there?
Oh yeah.
It's almost under, and I think there's still wire in there.
Must be some in there maybe.
I think there's still some in. But it's more of an upright spiral shape, and I redesigned it. I wanted to make a semi-cascade out of it, so that's been a gradual process over the last 20 years.
Years in the planning.
But I've got a pot up there, I'm going to put it in. This one's too heavy for it.
Right.
So I've got a more feminine pot to put that into. Yeah. Wrap around Tanuki if you like. I got this from a former member who emigrated to Australia. He's a very good carver.
Right,
So
okay.
he's done all the carving. I can't crank it.
I see some people do some carving and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like Graham Potter at Kaizen over in Great Yarmouth.
Yeah.
You see him on his videos and it's like zip, 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 and you're like, how how do you do that? That's.
I had to put a bit of wood hardener on it and fill the base in a bit. I mean, when it's ready for showing, which is going to be some years down the line, I'll throw a layer of Vacadama on just to hide all that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to keep it out of the ground. But it's,
Yeah, the
as
more
I
it's
say, I
out,
can't
the
keep. Ian Mason did it. He's the carver. He was very good at it.
yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, very narrow down here.
So working our way down the narrow steps
I'm going to put a handrail on there.
with big clubbing boots. So this is the rest and recuperation.
Yeah. Lebanese Cedar. Again, one of my early efforts. I tried to create a Christmas tree out of it once upon a time. You
Ah, I see.
And then I realised that's just not the way that cedars grow.
It's not having it. You're not making a Christmas tree out of me.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find a photograph for you and can show you. There you go. There.
Yeah.
So that's going back about 20 odd years now.
20 odd years. It's done a lot of growing in that 20 odd years.
Yeah. But I'll give it another year or so and I'll take it out and stick it in a box and then eventually put it in a pot. But I've just thrown, I mean the wine's very untidy, it's just a case of trying to get the branches in the right position.
Yeah, keep it and keep trying to move. Sometimes it's a losing battle, isn't it?
It is, it is. This is my friends that I'm looking after it for him.
That's a chunk and a half, isn't it?
It's a beautiful specimen, but it's just not it's surviving, but it's not thriving.
Ah, this is the one that's, I'm going to stay alive, but you ain't getting nothing out of me.
Yeah. It's been in there for 15 months and it's not budged.
Not done anything.
Not done it. It's not lost anything, but it's not done anything. So we're going to keep it for another year. And then it's up to Peter to make his mind up what he wants to do with it.
Hopefully it'll decide to kick in at some stage.
This is in my area. It was part of a pair that I tried and attempted to wrap around with. But one of the other one died, so I took it off the dead wood and put it in the garden. So I've just been tinkering with it, really. Redwood. I bought that off some guy. It was about 4 foot tall. I tried to air layer the top because it got a lot more branching.
Yeah.
But it didn't survive, so I'll just let it grow again this year. I think what I'll do, I'll get a bit of structure into the branches when they've filled out a bit, and then I'm going to probably carve some deadwood into the back end of it.
Oh. Yeah.
There's a guy in America who specialises in these, and I've seen some illustrations of what he's done. I'm going to see if I can dig out the book and copy it.
Copy it, yeah. Well, sometimes it's the best way to go, I think.
Yeah. Again, this is another redwood that I'm pushing it. I'm desperately trying to get it to bud back because the guy who had it previously, I think he bought it at our club auction actually. I'm pushing it to try and get it to bud back because it's got lots of knuckles on it.
Right. Have you had much success with the back budding on it?
A little bit. There's some coming out of here. There's one there. All these are new. So I'm getting there.
Right, yeah.
But it's a gradual process. That's a cell set yew that I got off a friend of mine that grew in his garden of his apartment.
It's been a nice
So
trunk beginning on that.
Trying to get some shape into that. And then a hawthorn. Again, one of our members used to collect hawthorns. I carved it out last year because it just looked straight. It was just a straight trunk, so I just carved it out.
Yeah,
I'm going to air layer this top off because it looked a nice little top actually.
Yeah, make a nice, interesting
tree on its own.
tree. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'm in the process of creating a new apex with this one. So when that comes off, this will take over. That's that. And these are cuttings that I'm developing. I put some tight twists into them, as you can see. That you can see there.
Yeah.
So I've twisted them all as tight as I can get them.
Get some good movement started straight away. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I'll probably lift them next year, put some wire back on them, and then maybe put them into training pots or put them back and just grow them on.
Yeah,
that's where
that's cool.
I had them in here originally, in some soil in liner. Essentially that's it.
Righty-o.
Okay.
So we'll charge back up here then.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to have a look at this. This is a Lebanese Cedar. There's a little story to that. I bought it as a Yamadori from, well, I got it from John Hamby. Again in the late 90s. I did a workshop with Malcolm Hughes at the Don Valley that we used to organise, the Don Valley Roadshow. And Malcolm styled it as an upright. It was about that tall.
Yeah.
And then I took it to a club night where we got a guy, a speaker, and I just volunteered to let him do what he wanted to do.
Feel free.
But yeah, a bit too free. He chopped the top off.
Wow.
And said it'll make it look more powerful. I was decimated. It just didn't look right. So I got a side branch about 6 years ago. Here, this one.
Yeah.
And I'm going to redefine the apex.
Bring it back up again.
Yeah, I did a little bit of carving on this lot as well.
Yeah.
It's just, but yeah, that's where we are.
So that's going to do it for today. So get out there, make the best of the rest of your day, be kind to others, animals and the planet, and as always I'll see you again in the next one.